This is Kishore Boylakunta. Just a quick introduction about myself. I have a bachelor's in mechanical, master's in aerospace engineering, and an MBA. And prior to joining RIZE, we are a startup. I was VP of product management at SolidWorks for many, many years. And now with RIZE on the 3D printer side of the business. 3D printing is transforming the industry. It's transforming the way design is done. It's transforming the way manufacturing is being done today and will happen into the future. And more importantly, it is transforming the supply chain, the inventory management, and such. So we are going to focus today on additive digital inventory and the savings that you can see. And likewise, what some companies are doing with RIZE around this topic of inventory management. With that, let's get started. So, part of this, the next couple of slides is actually an extract of reduced program cost through parts management written by the Parts Standardization and Management Committee. In fact, if you go to Google and search reduce program costs through parts management, you will see this document and you can download it and read it as well. And it's very informative. So basically, what are we talking about? So it typically costs around $20,000 to add, maintain a part into inventory and manage it on a physical level, which is keeping it on the shelf, the order management system, and everything else. And what are the goals of part management? Obviously, it's to improve logistics support, to enhance reliability around proven parts, and obviously manage obsolescence. And we are seeing customers with additive manufacturing completely change this. The way they do logistics support and management, the way they actually create, manage obsolescence and such. There are several benefits to part management, which is around cost savings, obviously. The less number of parts you have in inventory, the better. I visited a large customer while I was at SolidWorks before. They manufactured this heavy machinery, multiple of them. And sometimes engineers, because it's easy to create a latch or a small part, they design it, put it into the product. Now you have procurement trying to get it, new people manufacturing it. It just adds a lot of cost and overhead into the system unnecessarily. Then basically using the same part, probably similar parts between variants or different similar products that a company ships to the marketplace. So there's definite benefit to cost saving. Enhanced logistical readiness and interoperability. Obviously, if you have multiple products you ship to the market, you use the same parts between these products. It's much easier for interoperability, repair, maintenance costs, and such. Safety of systems and equipment, because the less number of parts, you can test them better, make sure they conform to things, and obviously reduce acquisition lead times as well. So when we talk about part management, there's a lot to this, and typically it costs a lot to add parts into inventory and manage those. So what are customers doing with RIZE and 3D printing? One, they are creating digital parts. What this basically means is you first reduce the number of parts or manage the parts through your products, and then you don't have to have everything on the shelf, because with 3D printing, you can print on demand, or you can keep less number of parts on shelf, and then you print as on demand as things reduce in the inventory. So by manufacturing on demand, we have customers telling us that there are savings on inventory management, short turnaround times. You will see those. Manufactured at the point of consumption. This becomes key, and we have a couple of customers doing this. And one of the key benefits of RIZE is IP management, IP protection, and serial control with markings tied to your ERP and PLM systems as well. And these are some of the things we are seeing with RIZE, and hopefully you'll see those benefits as well. So here's an example of how serial control works. So this is a part printed on RIZE, and you see on the back there's a QR code. And what happens is when you go to a QR code reader and you click on it, you will have metadata that's actually coming from wherever. In this case, it could be your ERP system. So let me pause here for a second. And you can see things like the patient name, or in this case, the product name, the medical record, the date it's printed, who is the operator, the status, which variant is this part of, the names, and all that good stuff. So any part you print on RISE, because of marking capabilities, can be serial control. You can put your part numbers on it for IP control and all that good stuff. Now, so what are customers doing for digital part management? One, with RISE, you have very simple post-processing. So when you remove supports and such, you have very high geometric integrity. It doesn't leave any surface marks, or it doesn't leave any traces of other materials. You can document, describe, and identify every part you print with traceability, with form, fit, and function. Likewise, you have zero VOCs and zero chemicals, which means it can be in an office environment. You can take it to your factory floor without any further delays, because some safety is a big thing on the factory floors and the labs as well. So let's take a look at a couple of customers that are doing this. One is New Hudson Facades. This customer actually designs and manufactures facades that goes into buildings. And as you can imagine, every building is different. So they have custom facades all day long. What they are doing is they are manufacturing on-demand custom parts. Applications include work holdings, fixtures, gauges, functional parts for production. And they are seeing some fantastic results. And you see on the bottom right-hand corner, this is their inventory now. And as things are used up in inventory, they actually print more parts and add to inventory. So your inventory management is completely driven by digital parts. These are parts that are designed, printed on the RIZE printer, and actually put in inventory as and when necessary. Also, this is print at the point of consumption. So this is happening right on the factory floor, on demand, depending on custom designs that they are delivering. What they are seeing because of this is they are seeing 15% increase in production speed, because they don't have to go order it outside, have somebody else manufacture and send it back in. 5x routine inspection frequency within the same time frame, because of the speed at which they are able to create these assemblies. They are able to inspect them better. And they are telling us that they are saving $200,000 a year on just fixture costs. That's around $50,000 a quarter, which is amazing numbers. They have improved production accuracy and 50% reduction on assembly inspection times, and hence they are inspecting a lot more parts. Now, the other nice thing that's happening is because RIZE is such an easy printer to use with one touch, CNC users are actually using it inside their facility as well. It's an industrial quality 3D printer, so they're actually using it 24/7, averaging 2 parts per day. So these are some of the transformations. You can now think about how they change the supply chain in this case, printing it at the point of consumption, managing a digital inventory that can change depending on the facades and the building that they are building about. And in turn, the added benefits are a faster production time, improved production accuracy, more parts being inspected, $200,000 plus in savings every year just on the fixture cost. So this tells you the kind of changes additive manufacturing is bringing to production, supply chain management, as well as inventory management. And obviously, because it's such an easy printer to use, new users that have never used additive manufacturing are using it as well. Let's take the case of another customer. This is PSMI. This is an amazing story. They actually realized the benefits of additive manufacturing for spare parts as well as digital inventory. And we talked about the fact that anytime you have a part in inventory, it costs you $20,000 or more sometimes. So what they have done at Azoth is actually they have created an additive indirect services script. And basically, and Azoth is completely structured around RIZE, doing what they do. And I will show you some more things. So they actually, in this case, as of in this case, bought the first printer February 15th. March 1st, they finished their first project. This is a spindle gauge that broke on the factory floor that they immediately 3D printed with the RIZE printer and put it to work, and thereby basically putting it into production or moving the factory floor along. On March 5th, they delivered the first part. May 23rd, they announced Azoth as a new business model. You see Mr. Scott Burke right there. And they signed an MOU with RIZE to buy 200 plus printers over the next year and a half. And what Azoth at PSMI does is they manufacture tool cribs for GM, Ford, John Deere, Eaton, and many, many places. And they want to put a RIZE printer at every tool crib, 200 plus manufacturing locations. So now the inventory they are managing is digital. They print on demand and they keep less inventory. So there's tremendous savings on inventory management for PSMI with RIZE. And they have told us some fantastic stories. This is Mr. Scott Burke with Andy Calambi, who is the CEO of RIZE, telling the story and why they believed RIZE is the right solution for them. In this case, spare parts as well as indirect digital tool crib. So they actually tell about the printer to all these different locations, and because it's safe, they can easily move into the factory floor without much regulation. So why is RIZE so good for spare part management? That comes with innovations that we have on the materials. The material itself as zero VOC, clean process, clean materials. We have a patented APD system that's key to traceability, control of process parameters. It has very low water absorption, low surface energy, and high chemical resistance, suited for medical and applications where you have high moisture kind of environment. With marking capability, each part, like you see here, where you see AH12 December 1st, 2017, each part can be actually documented, described, and identified with QR codes and part numbers. We print this right on top of the part at the voxel level. And obviously, because supports come out so easily, you have geometric integrity as well. As a company, we are gaining tremendous momentum. We have many big customers like Merck, Conrad, you heard about PSMI and others. Likewise, Department of Defense, US Army, Newards and Facades, and others with many industry awards over the last year. So what makes RIZE do this marking and everything else? And part of that is we have a hybrid innovation technology where we actually print polymers, and along with that, we can jet what we call functional inks. And these inks actually penetrate the part, so you can't scratch these part numbers and QR codes away. So they are deep into the part. So now you can actually have digital traceability and IP protection as you 3D print the parts. We talked about Lithium 1. And where is RIZE products used today? In biomedical solutions, in manufacturing, defense and aerospace, and design collaboration. So net-net, what we are talking about here is that with RIZE, because you can print on demand, because you have full serial control on the inventory, and you can track each and every part that's being printed and the number of components that are being printed, with full links to ERP and PLM systems, you can actually create a digital tool crib, a digital inventory that you don't have to physically maintain. You can 3D print those on demand and use it where applicable. And with that, you'll get tremendous savings around inventory management, around procurement, around going to external suppliers to create the parts for you and such. So let's take some examples. In this case, Mr. Scott Burke at PSMI, you can see him tell that they used to take previously machined in aluminum molds. They used to take 6 to 8 weeks at $30 a part, because that's how long the lead time took when something needs to be done, when something breaks on the factory floor. With RIZE, they were able to 3D print parts in 1 day at $25 per part. You can see Mr. Barry Aikens at HMS Industries, 3 days to 3 weeks at $1,000 per part. Now they do it at $40. These are molds and seals that they can create pretty easily. You can see a global life sciences company, a senior engineer say, RIZE is easy and reliable. There's no complexity or tech support requirements, zero post-processing. The supports peel away. You can just pull it out because of how we put the supports with release inks, as well as it's the fastest to get to the final part. In other words, once you have a design, very quickly you can come to the final part. You see the same with new arts and facades, life sciences, and other places as well. So what does it mean? With additive inventory management, digital management, you can get up to 35x faster and 24x cheaper in the case of PSMI. With HMS, 21x faster and 25x cheaper. Here's a consumer products company, and they have other 3D printers in-house, and they tell us with RIZE, they are 2x faster and 2x cheaper because of the material cost at RIZE. Likewise, new and facades, they are running it on the time while other 3D printers are sitting idle. Life sciences, same thing, running it all the time with 2 spools per week. And you see that the savings on materials, and it's safe. So finally, RIZE is a perfect printer, that desktop industrial 3D printing for additive manufacturing. Desktop because it's simple, fast, and safe. Industrial because it's strong materials, diversity of applications in all weather conditions, and it's Industry 4.0 ready with multi-material connected to Industry 4.0 and partnerships with key industry players. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. Is with additive manufacturing and RIZE, you can now have a digital inventory management systems, print on demand, save tremendous amounts of cost and money, which go with traditional inventory management systems, faster to your spare parts and on-demand 3D printing, and tremendous savings on part costs and such, like you have seen with other customers. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us, and we'll try our best to answer those and go from there. Okay. Thank you for attending. Thanks for taking the time, and hopefully we'll meet soon. Bye-bye.